There's a couple of interesting changes that I'm seeing in the industry. One is the move to see traditional operators become virtual network operators, and the other is the question of who actually pays for the usage of the network. Coming to the issue of the virtual network operator, operators for years ran their own networks. In some cases they built their own network hardware, and managed services have come to market to take that burden away from them. So routinely now, operators of all sizes go to network equipment vendors such as Nokia Siemens Networks, Huawei, Ericsson, and many others as well across the world. The advantages to that are obvious because there are economies of scale that can be driven, the capex and opex concerns are reduced, and what I'm finding particularly interesting is increasingly operators are not just coming for the network equipment, not just coming for the radio networks to be built in LTE scenarios. They're looking also at the operational support systems and the management of those. And I'm seeing a possibility, particularly for Tier 2 and 3 operators, that they become similar to what used to be called virtual network operators. And by that I mean they become license holders and branding and marketing operations, and everything else is outsourced to managed service providers. So the core competence of a network operator actually stops being the network and becomes being branding and offering differentiated and attractive services in the market against a raft of competitors. The second point is who pays for this. Historically it's been the end user, subsidised to a degree by the operator in terms of being given a handset as a means to stimulate traffic growth. Traffic growth doesn't really need to be stimulated now, and users want reliable connections 24/7 on demand to do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it. For operators, the pricing structure has become unsustainable. The cost of bandwidth and new applications, particularly video, has made that incredibly difficult to make sustainable. So something needs to change. Fortunately, organisations that were, until very recently indeed, viewed as absolute competitors to telecoms operators, I'm thinking of over-the-top internet players such as Google or YouTube. Facebook also comes into the equation, although Facebook still hasn't worked out its own monetization model. So there's a point where these former competitors could actually become customers of the network operators by subsidizing the activity that they encounter. A good example would be a travel website such as Expedia might cut a deal with a mobile operator whereby when its users roam, Expedia will pay the roaming charges in exchange for being able to market its services such as travel insurance or dinner in a local restaurant when the user pops up in a given location. So there's a way for a vast array of brands and online properties to enter and interact with the network operator. So it's a vastly convoluted business chain. So I think it's going to be really interesting to watch how this unfolds, but I think the encouraging thing is there's a new readiness to adapt to and examine new models among carriers.